Alangos, Mayor of Sandy Springs, Your Excellencies, members of the Consular Corps, fellow citizens, heads of Indian American associations, captains of industry, members of media, and many friends. On behalf of my wife Margaret and the first Consulate General of India in Atlanta, I welcome you all. Today India celebrated 63rd Republic Day with traditional grand parade in New Delhi, showcasing its rich cultural heritage and its defense capabilities. 26 January is a very significant day in our nation's calendar when we celebrate the establishment of free India as a republic based on ideology of justice and equality. My late father had the privilege of being the member of this Constituent Assembly which adopted the Constitution of India, which is the foundation of the world's largest democracy. Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, who is considered one of the main architects of Indian Constitution, had stated in his closing speech at the Constituent Assembly, and I quote, "The first thing in my judgment you must do is to hold fast to constitutional methods of achieving our social and economic objectives," unquote. Here I must add that the Indian Constitution also derived inspiration from the much older American Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our remarkable accomplishments has been adherence to democracy. People of India have expressed their confidence by participating time and again in electoral process, which is the largest democratic exercise in the world. Next month we are going to have elections in one of the states where the electorate is only 200 million people. In more than 6 decades, India has taken large strides on the road to development. India today is the second fastest growing major economy in the world and the fourth largest major economy in the world based on purchasing power parity. In the last 4 years prior to the global financial crisis in 2008, India's GDP growth was about 9%. Last year our rate of growth of GDP was 8.6%, and this financial year, due to the global slowdown and the European sovereign debt crisis, it should be around 7 to 7.5%, which is not given what's happening in the world today. Therefore, given the fundamentals of Indian economy being strong, we hope to return to a sustained economic growth of 9% of GDP in the coming years. Our large and expanding middle class not only provides skilled manpower for a wide range of scientific and technological and managerial requirements, but also constitutes a huge and growing consumer market. Today we are a nation of more than 1 billion people, which is multi-religious, multi-ethnic and multilingual. India's rise within the framework of pluralistic and secular democracy is unique in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, India is an ancient civilization but a young nation. It has nearly 50% of the population below the age of 25 years and would have the largest number of working population in the coming years. This is one of India's strengths and an enormous source of dynamism, which will be the key factor of growth in the decades to come. India is today viewed as the second most favorable outsourcing destination in the world. It has the second fastest growing automobile industry in the world. It has over 800 million people, mobile phone users with cheapest rates in the world, which increases connectivity and commerce. By 2040, many analysts have predicted that it could be the third biggest economy in the world. However, this tremendous work to be done to move forward on our social and economic agenda, if we are to achieve fast and inclusive sustainable growth, there is tremendous work to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, in an address yesterday, the Honorable President of India, Her Excellency Mrs. Pratibha Devi Singh Patil, inter alia stated, and I quote, "India's foreign policy is aimed at the promotion of an environment that is conducive to its social and economic transformation. We seek to build bridges of cooperation and friendship with all countries in the world. We constructively engage with the international community to find responses to global challenges. The role and stature of India has been growing, and our nation has been scaling in the ladder of the Committee of Nations. India seeks an architecture for global institutions that is reflective of contemporary realities. We are also proud of the contributions of the Indian diaspora spread over many countries and across continents to the economic, professional and political fields of the countries where they live." Unquote. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our bilateral engagement with the United States has significantly strengthened and in fact got rapid transformation in the last decade or so. In fact, the expanding cooperation between India and the United States is strongly rooted in our shared values of democracy, individual freedom and rule of law, in excellent people-to-people contacts and business linkages, and in our increasing ability to work together in a variety of fields, from fighting the menace of terrorism to ensuring the stability of global economy. The India-US Strategic Dialogue, initiated in 2009, identified 5 principal areas for expanding cooperation. That is strategic cooperation, energy and climate change, education and development, economy, trade and agriculture, science and technology, health and innovation. In India, we regard the United States as our most important partner in quest for social and economic development, and we are working to expand our relations across the entire spectrum of bilateral agenda, including in areas which I believe are of importance to the United States as well. Areas such as trade and investment, science and technology, clean energy, health, higher education and agriculture. The steady growth of Indian economy has not only helped improve the living standards of many of our peoples, but has also opened up new opportunities to expand our mutually beneficial economic and commercial ties with the United States. Two-way trade in goods continues to grow steadily, reaching about $49 billion last year. Services trade is buoyant and capital flows are now in 2 directions. The US businesses are becoming strong partners in India's economic growth stories, and Indian businesses are creating value, wealth and jobs in the United States. Because the Indo-US economic ties have been knowledge, technology and people intensive, it has a profound impact on the relationship that goes beyond the business sector. In order to continue on our high growth path, India will need to invest in building a world-class infrastructure that could cater to the demands of a billion-plus population and ensure the availability of abundant supplies of clean sources of energy to fuel such growth. In both these areas, we are working to build mutually beneficial ties. Even while our economic growth has been impressive in recent years, we are mindful of enormous development challenges which we face in India. We need to build more schools and institutions for higher education, skill development, strengthen our health infrastructure. In all these facets of development, we are supplementing domestic efforts through cooperation with international partners, the foremost of which is the United States. To fully reap the benefits of demographic advantage of the dividend, we need to ensure that there are ample opportunities for education and self-development for the young population of India, who are in the majority. Today more than 100,000 Indian students study in United States universities, and the education sector is a crucial area of our expanding cooperation, and that is why last October we had Indo-US Higher Education Summit in Washington. Also, our cooperation in the field of security has entered new territories and explored new frontiers. Our militaries, once unfamiliar with each other, now hold regular dialogue and joint exercises in the air and on land and sea. Our defense trade was negligible about a decade ago, but today we have placed orders worth $8 billion, and it is bound to grow even more in the future as India looks to modernize its armed forces. We welcome President Obama's endorsement of India's candidature for permanent membership of the UN Security Council. This is an acknowledgement of the growing role of India on the global stage and a reassertion of our shared belief that India-US relations are a key strategic partnership of the 21st century. This is just a broad glimpse of our engagement at bilateral, regional and global levels with the United States. Our shared values, intensified political engagement, expanding framework of dialogue mechanisms, growing business linkages, and most importantly, excellent people-to-people relations will be shaping the growth and dynamism in India-US partnership in coming decades. Ladies and gentlemen, the nearly 3 million strong Indian American community has also come of age and plays a vital role in expanding numerous connections which make our relationship people-centric. These factors are a source of strength in building our relationship for the future. There is also an increasing interest in the interaction between various states of US and Indian states we have recently had visits of several governors and congressmen to India. For example, with Georgia in 2010, India's exports were over $1 billion, which was 40% increase over 2009. Similarly, Georgia's exports to India totaled over $562 million, which was over 35% increase from 2009. With 30 Georgian companies operating in India and 40 Indian companies operating in Georgia, including 8 at manufacturing locations, there is tremendous potential of expansion of trade and investment between India and Georgia. The establishment of Indian consulate will give further impetus to develop closer relations with India in all its aspects. I've had the honor to call on the Honorable Governor, Mr. Nelson Reed, and Mayor Mr. Kasim Reed, who warmly welcomed the opening of Indian consulate in Atlanta and were eager to assist in bringing India and Georgia relations much closer. With the expansion of India's soft power, we are happy to see that Indian cuisine, culture, yoga and Bollywood are also making their inroads in the United States. At this stage, I would like to salute the dynamic Indian American community in Georgia, starting from the function to celebrate Mahatma Gandhi's birthday on 2nd October last year at the King Center. I have managed to reach and address nearly all major community associations in the last few months I have been in Greater Atlanta. I would also like to reiterate that priority will be given to the security and welfare of Indian residents by the consulate, as well as the importance of engagement with the community leaders in order to better serve the non-resident communities. The Indian consulate, ladies and gentlemen, has opened at a temporary location, and we are in the process of acquiring a permanent building or a permanent location. Once this is achieved after a few months, there's also some procedural approvals are necessary. We will be able to fully function to offer consular services of visas, passports, OCI, PIU and others. Till then, our consulate in Houston will continue to offer the consular services. We will inform you all of the formal inauguration of the consulate in Atlanta later this year. At this juncture, it's my happy occasion to thank some people who have helped us, like Mr. Rajdan, Asian American Hotel Owners Association, Mr. Bobby Patel, Narsi, Kalpesh Patel, Chand, and the list is so long, so I will stop and just thank all who supported us. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a pleasant evening. We will now play the Indian National Anthem, after which you can have dinner. Jai Hind, and thank you very much.